Okay, so my background is in film animation. I studied in university how to make 3D animation, 2D animation. University was very. It was made. The school was designed. The school was built to cater for this MSc status city that we had in Kuala Lumpur. So basically, the school was made to make workers for the MSc status companies. So a lot of the subjects, a lot of the training were made with that in mind to make workers. So a lot of the subjects were about how to do things, how to create this, how to make this, how to get this effect, how to get that effect. How to copy Hollywood, how to copy Pixar. So that didn't really suit me very much. So I finished university with my degree in film animation. But right after university, I went into other realms of video, more like video art, more like video graphics, playing around with graphics, playing around with animation, experimenting with video and animation. Because I noticed at that time when I was out of school, the level or the scene of animation was very much trying to emulate what Pixar was doing, trying to copy those kind of feel-good movies, that you see on the big screens. So there were not much people pushing for interesting works, experimental works in terms of video and motion graphics. So I began doing a lot of experiments with video, a lot of experiments with animation, live stuff. Using live cameras, using live effects, and I noticed a lot of these things were more interesting and more approachable because they are objects that you can see. They are things that you can understand right in front of your eyes, as opposed to like in a software you don't see what's going on. Everything is covered, and you just see the final work, So I enjoy watching a process happening before my eyes, rather than put it into a computer, let the computer do all the work, and then you have the final output. So that kind of process for me is too. It's not only cool, but it detaches you from appreciating the work because you don't know how it works. All you know is you have it in your hand, it works, enjoy it. But I'm interested. How do you get there? How do you make that effect? How do you get that graphic? How do you get that video? So when I learned how to do those things, I appreciate the work more because you look at it and think, wow, that was really hard to do because I know he had to use smoke and he had to use some chemicals to get the effect, So I tried as much as I could experiment with ways to make graphics and video animation through scientific methods, some scientific, some physics, So I kind of enjoy just playing with techniques, playing with mediums. I always wanted to play music, but I couldn't. Tried to play guitars, drums, and timing was always my problem, So what I did was I followed my music friends who had bands and gigs and all that. So I wanted to be part of the band or part of the music, but couldn't play an instrument. So I figured, okay, I'm sure I can do something, So I started doing projections for my friends' band, and basically at that time I was still in school, so what I did was still just using video clips that I ripped off VCD softwares and put into a computer and then played it into a projector. And the projector basically just moved it around the space and put a lens, put an auto in front of the lens, So and at that time nobody was it was not common or to see any kind of visuals for music, This was 2000, 2001, especially for bands, not for DJs and all that kind of stuff, clubs, that has been going on for a long time. But for like bands in Malaysia and KL, not so much. So from that point, I noticed that, wow, performing live with a band, you and me performing live with visuals, has that kind of synergy. Sometimes there is no synergy, but that kind of that point where it does meet it is kind of it's great, you know, and you don't get that kind of performances or that feeling when you do an artwork and you put it in this gallery and you just look at it and watch, you know, it's different kind of feeling to it. So after that first gig I did, I began doing it regularly, performing with bands, performing with theater, performing with dance, performing with other people. So basically using video, graphics, animation is one part, and music or dance or theater as another element. Try to combine them together, because I feel when visuals are done live or graphics are done live, it has more life to it than something that's playback of a laptop or a computer, you know. So for me, this element of chance, this element of mistake, this element of, you know, all these things are what makes a work interesting, what makes a work temporal, you know, and you don't know what's going to happen, so you have to appreciate every second of it, you know. So that for me is way more precious than the work that's exhibited and, you know, placed on the wall. The work for Media Art Kitchen Bangkok 2013. Okay, that work is the same work I did for Media Art Kitchen Kuala Lumpur, which is this projector made out of wood with DIY material, you know, like motors and lens and tin cans and, you know, stuff like that. So the DA+C, which I call it, the name of the projector, is part of a system which I call the Praxinojectogram, which basically means Praxinoscope, projector, and Instagram. So it's basically a system where a projector is playing animation, and this animation is stop motion, still frames rotating on a moto, and the image is reflected on the glass mirror. So the mirror goes through the lens, and the lens projects the image. And then that image can be kept in the archive in CD sleeves, where the user or the creator will write his name and comment and title the work, and, you know, and other people's work can also be viewed. So going back to how this relates to my past, you know, well, it's basically simple animation. Going back to, you know, the concepts of flipbook animation, the concept of, you know, putting persistence of vision, all those things. I like the fact that you can see what you're doing and you can see the effect right away, you know, and the fact that it's user-generated, whereby people are the ones creating the work, you know. So in that sense, they are watching their own work being made on the spot, you know. So the performance element to it is, I think, maybe the part where I come in and talk to people, you know, because I find that to be very interesting to actually engage with the viewers, you know, and they say, hey, come draw something, you know, I don't know what to draw, look at this, you know, some kids are doing some animation, it's great, and they enjoy listening, I guess they enjoy listening to what I'm saying, and they get inspired and get encouraged, and some of them make drawings, you know, some of them who had no background in drawing, no background in animation, no background in anything to do with art, suddenly they're making art, and some of them, most of them, at the end of the animation, they will say, wow, it's the first time I did that, you know, I feel great. So for me, that is the performance, you know what I mean? The part where I'm like selling ubat, you know, like a street artist trying to get people to buy stuff, you know, but the difference is I'm asking them to make it work, you know? So it has a bit of performance, it has a bit of visuals, projections, animation, but the difference is actually in the space. It's actually in a gallery space, a museum space, you know, where you have to come in the spot, you know. So that is not common. I don't do that very much, and I don't know. I'm interested to see how this work can be used in other spaces that is not so controlled like this one. You know, maybe in the classroom, maybe in the playground, maybe in the park. You know, where it's public, really public. You know, and like this one is not so public. So that is how I see there's some semblance between now and my work now and the works I've done. The next project that I'm working on next year is theater performance that is not, I wouldn't say conventional, but unconventional, theater performance, where I'm taking the traditional concept of theater, audience, stage, actors, and trying to put them in a design them in a way where they don't interact in the normal sense. So this work, I'm not sure how it's going to look like at the moment, but what I understand from this is that it will take a lot of DIY elements, it will take a lot of community elements, it will take a lot of live elements into the work, whereby it's not going to be like an audience sits there in a numbered seats and perform on stage, performing lines rehearsed to you, It's not going to be that. So I want to take that concept, I want to take that existing concept and basically break it down into another format and shift it around and see what happens. My background in performing arts is totally negative, so I have to learn a lot more about that. But for me, I think you need to, if you are doing works that are performative somewhat, you have to have some background in performance arts. So my next project before doing that project is actually to learn a bit more about traditional arts, traditional performing arts, how it functions, how it works, what elements are like, because those things will anchor your work, my work. So next project will be that, and of course there'll still be visuals, there'll still be sound, there'll be elements of all this, there'll be more elements into it. Last time it was just music and visuals, so I'm trying to add music, visuals, and theater, music, visuals, theater, and animation, music, visuals, theater, animation, and maybe comedy, So these elements are going to be added along the way as I progress my work, and hopefully I can find a balance between these 5 elements, because at the moment more things doesn't mean better, so you just gotta find a way to balance all this. And also technology, I think one of the things I also love about all these things is technology, how technology makes your life easier, at the same time makes it harder, so you want to use it to perform, have multiple screens, but then sometimes it doesn't function, sometimes the projectors blow up, so how do you solve that blowing up projector issue? Maybe use shadows instead of a projector cable, or VGA cable, you use just candles and lights, So the limited possibilities of technology also gives you unlimited possibilities of what you can do to solve it, So I like that part of technology as well. So these are the things that technology, theater, music, arts, trying to combine them together and find some kind of, not to say new way of performing, but just looking at mediums that are around me, they're there, I have it in my phone, I have it in my notebook, but we're not using it, we're stuck to one method, So I want to try to break that idea of, you're stuck in one method and try multiple methods and see what happens. So that's next.